The recent month I shoot much more film than before. Because of that I wanted to make my life a little bit more easy, because I'm a lazy photographer, as we all are, and I got myself the HEO film processor. It came with a funnel drilling label, USB-C charging cable and an adapter for old Peterson tanks. With the drilling label you can modify your old Peterson tanks. This tank was modified already. Let's see if it turns on. Yes, it does. Some of you may ask why I would buy this film processor when I could develop black and white by hand as well. So first of all, I'm a more lazy person, and second of all, it's nice to do something else when the film is developing. And the third point is I would like to develop color film or slide film as well. The expecting shipping date was about 1.5 months after my order, and it even got delayed a little bit, but the guys from Vintage Visual were very transparent. They sent me an email with the final shipping date, and the shipping date was very accurate. Shipping took only like 2 days. I'm very happy about that. And what I really like about the processor is that it's not 3D printed. It feels like a finished and polished final product. There are firmware updates available soon. More about it later. Yeah, and as you can see, my first film was Fomapan, and I thought I'll just shoot some not so important images and just do a test roll and see what's happening. Before we start, I want to show you what I got on the used market. These are some original packaged 35mm film clips, and I really like that they still show the shilling price. So if you have a look here, it's 129 shillings. Yeah, they feel very heavy duty. I really like them. Because our area was flooded, I put everything of value in my darkroom and I had to clean it up before we can start developing. Luckily my studio was not affected, but better be safe than sorry. And sorry about the missed focus right now as well. To mix my developer and get the right developing times, I went to the Massive Developer website. I'm using the HC110 and Delusion H. So I'll just went here. And I went to the volume mixer tool to see how I have to mix my chemicals. 350 milliliters are enough for a 2-reel tank, but I went for 370 to be on the safe side. And now I know I need 6 milliliters of developer and 364 milliliters of distilled water. That's not the developer, that's the fixer. I'm mixing it like it's documented on the bottle. I always pour distilled water in my measuring cup to just clean it afterwards. Yeah, I'll shake it and let it stay for a while so the bubbles go away. As you can see, for me it's very important that I label my bottles so I know afterwards what I have in them. Yeah, this is the stopping solution. Most people don't use the solution for black and white film, but I have one at home and I still use it. As you can see, I poured again distilled water in the measuring cup, so it's clean afterwards. And finally we come to the developer with the 6 milliliters of developer and 364 milliliters of distilled water. Same thing again. And it was already labeled, shaking and letting it stand there to be used. I use a film picker to get the film out of the roll. I did already a short about it, but I explain it here again. You have to push it in a little bit. And after you pushed it in, you just have to turn the film spool counterclockwise 2 or 3 times. So I did it here a little bit longer, but I think 2 or 3 full turns are enough. After you did that, you push the whole thing, including the tiny little nose, into the film canister. Now again, you turn the film spool counterclockwise until you hear a tiny little click. Now you push in the little nose completely and just pull the film out. I think this is much easier than opening the film canister in the changing bag. With that, now you can cut the film in normal light and also cut a little bevel on it. And then everything goes in the changing bag and on the film roll. Let's go! Honestly, I was very excited now to finally develop the film with the HEO film processor. That never gets old. Here you can see now the 3 holes that the funnel drilling label was for. Vintage Visual does that if you order directly by them. And this is how you mount it onto the processor. You just have to press it firmly so the gasket is sealed. For the rotary development, you have to subtract 15% of development. This is just for visual purposes. Everybody can calculate that in your mind. And let's turn the film processor on and put in the necessary development time. As you can see, it's a very easy menu. I'll just put it to 830. This is only needed for black and white development, and in a future firmware update they will have that as an option to configure, so it should come out in October as far as I understood. To avoid making a mess, I put the processor in a developing tank and started developing, just pouring in the developer, and afterwards I start to press start. Not sure if you should press start 4, but I just did it that way and it worked out great. And as you can see now, if you press start, it starts to develop, and if you wait a little bit, it also adjusts the developing time according to the temperature. That's something I really like. Now you can see already it's adjusted the developing time like 16 seconds because the developer was a little bit warmer. And with that you can also do color or slide film. It will change the development curve according to the temperature. That's really a nice feature. 10 seconds before the end of development, it will start to beep and will start beep even more. So you know you have to go back and pour out the developer and start with the stopping bath. So I just pour out the developer back in this canister because I won't use it again. As you can see, you can just leave the film processor on it if you pour out the chemicals. That's also a really nice feature. Now I start with the stop bath. It's the same procedure like with the development. Because I use the stop bath again, I just pour it back in the stop bath bottle, and you can hear that it still turns the reel when pouring out the chemicals, so everything gets out more smoothly. Yeah, and now the final step is coming up. I'll fix the black and white negatives. Now we have to wait a little bit more until I can wash it and dry it. Also during the washing process with tap water, the processor is still mounted on the Patterson tank and will turn your spool until the end, and you can do whatever you want for the next 10 minutes. When it's finished, it will beep again and you can finally unveil the film. I'll just still do a short wash with the photo flow and a little bit distilled water. I'm pretty sure only distilled water will work as well, but again, better be safe than sorry. To have a clean film, I'll just turn it around a little bit, and after that I'll get it out of the canister. Believe me, I was very excited to see my first roll of film I developed with the HEO film processor, but it worked out really nicely and I was super happy with the result. So you better understand what I'm talking about. I will show you some scans at the end of the video. After I did this roll of film, I started to do another roll. This time it was medium format. I shot a roll of HP5. This HP5 is actually for another video where I use a very old Aqua Super Isolate from my grandpa to revisit my childhood memories and to shoot some places where I was as a little kid. It's gonna be a really interesting and nice video with an old camera that has a lot of great quality. I really love that camera, so if you want to see that video, subscribe and enjoy a blast from the past. With the 120 roll, it's the same, just different times because it's a different kind of a film. And here you can see again that it's adjusting the time according to the temperature. The rest of the developing, stopping, fixing and washing is exactly the same as you can imagine. And yeah, it worked out also really nicely. So the medium format film really looked great, as you can see. And the only thing I have to do now is to dry the film and develop my last film. It's a Ferrania P30. And I really had a hard time to get it onto the spool, so I was fighting a lot in the changing bag. So did I just have bad luck, or did it happen to one of you guys as well? So now finally we can have a look at some scans. You can see the detail of the Ferrania is really nice and the development worked out really nicely. I really like this one. This is in Klagenfurt at the Wörthersee. And this is in a shopping center in Klagenfurt. A lot of detail. I really like the Ferrania a lot. If you want to see more of my images, you can visit my new Instagram account, Full Photography Circle, and for my portraits, Image Austria. I did already a video about scanning, but because Valois sent me a new kit and you guys had some idea how I can improve my scanning, I will do another video. So another reason to subscribe to my channel. The recent images you saw were shot with the Formopan film, and you can see it also reveals a lot of detail. I really like this one. It has so much detail and such a nice depth of field. And here are the medium format shots. As said before, I will show them in a separate video where it's everything about the camera I used and about my childhood. This is gonna be a fun, and really I'm looking forward to do that video. Look at the detail of this HP5. You can see I'm very happy with the HEO film processor. Yeah, at the end there's one more thing. I'm gonna do a second video about color development, and for that I got the CineStill temperature control system, so I will do a review of that as well with the color processing. And yeah, I have to say it again, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and as always at the end of the video, I'll be back, guys.